Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Jazzy P. As you can tell from the thumbnail, today I'm going to be giving my final words on Mounjaro 7.5. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, leaving a thumbs up, and a comment below. I have titrated up to 10 milligrams. But before I can give an assessment of my first week on Mounjaro 10.0, I would like to give a final assessment of 7.5. I've seen many videos of people saying that 7.5 wasn't very effective, and they moved up rather quickly. To be honest with you, when I saw my doctor, I told her, and I was on 5.0, that I had heard a lot about 7.5 not being very effective. So we made a decision in the doctor's office to try 7.5 for the 4 weeks, 1 month only, and then to move on up to 10.0. So I want to discuss in detail my final conclusions about 7.5. I will say that the side effects, the main side effect that I had with the 7.5 was the fatigue. I haven't felt the fatigue in quite a while, or it's been very, very mild. On 7.5, my fatigue returned closer to 2.5. I wouldn't say like it is in the very beginning, because in the very beginning, the fatigue is quite a bit to adjust to. I would say after your body adjusts to 2.5, you still feel a little fatigue the first 24, maybe 48 to 72 hours. And then it starts to taper off and you start to feel pretty okay. You know, I did. At least, you know, as far as the fatigue goes. I will say also that I haven't had many side effects on Mounjaro. And, you know, everybody is different for different reasons. People have different side effects based on their health conditions or just their body makeup, or it could be the way they approach the dietary aspects, exercise, a multitude of things which you would have to speak to your doctor about, and maybe you could come to a conclusion about what that is. As I stated before, 2.5 in previous videos I stated, and on 2.5, what my main objective was to not only adjust to the medication and any side effects that may come along with it, but also to learn the dietary aspects of it, what works for me, so that I could navigate with as few side effects as possible. I did that according to advice from a doctor. I had seen a nutritionist, not in the months leading up to Mounjaro. I will say I've tried many, many things prior to Mounjaro. So there were things that I did learn from a dietitian and from watching videos. I'm sure you're guilty too, before I started the medication, because there was a level of fear, the unknown. What am I getting into? Is this going to work? Those side effects sound horrific. I have never had the constipation. I've never experienced that. And knock on wood, and hopefully I never will. But I have learned, if you don't see a dietitian, there are plenty of dietitians on YouTube. I suggest you go check out a few dietitians. There are some physicians who specialize in GLP-1 medications who can also give you some dietary advice. I will say for me, I found that making sure if I have some carbs like rice or potatoes, that I also add with that some type of fiber. You cannot, I don't think it's a good idea to carve out carbs, to leave them out of your diet completely. Now, for some, that may be exactly what is recommended for you. I'm not sure. I'm not a doctor, and I don't know what you and your doctor discuss. But I will say this. I love carbs and they hate me. But to leave them out completely, it was unrealistic for me. So adding fiber whenever I eat carbs seemed to be a solution that in compromise that I could live with. And it may adjust. I may be able to adjust that later, but I needed to get started. I needed to start making some changes that I could live with. And you can tweak those changes the further along you go. But you got to start somewhere. And not knowing anything, the fear of the unknown, I didn't want it to paralyze me, and I did want to make some progress. Because, if we don't see progress, we quit. And I needed to keep something going. I needed to get started, and I needed to be able to do something that I wouldn't quit on, right? So, in speaking of the fiber, for me, I'm not, a big fruit person. I like the vegetables. I'll eat the green leafy vegetables, and that's fiber, right? But I know they ask you to eat fruit. I lean more towards berries, blueberries, strawberries, blackberries. Not a big fan of raspberries, but it could happen. I like pineapple. And so it's okay to take some of these things and make a fruit bowl. Not just top it with your Greek yogurt, which is great, and I tried the oikos, because it's 000, and I want to see some results. And I moved over into some Fit Fun from Dannon or the store brand. It made me feel like I was cheating, but I checked everything. And as long as you calculate your macros to a certain degree, which we'll talk about later, you can feel confident in that also. I also decided that eating as they tell you protein, right? So I try to get as much protein into my first meal of the day. I usually don't eat before 11 a.m. and that is still most of the time breakfast for me. There have been occasions when I'll take that time and I'll do a lunch thing like some street tacos that I make with those Mission or any other brand of zero carb street tortillas. I'll make those tacos, and you can make the meat ahead of time, meal prep if you want, and then that's something quick I can eat. It's quick on hand, and I find that that's easy for me to do. Or some chicken breast with peppers, colored peppers that I can mix in and make a Philly omelet. Or a taco, a burrito, you name it. If it, you just have some kind of protein prepped that you can turn into a quick meal to get you a lot of protein to get the day started. And that has worked for me. I have not had very much nausea. And we're still talking about 2.5, 5.0, and 7.5. Because with 7.5, I did not experience the nausea. I have been good in that regard, blessed in that regard, because there are people who have horror stories about nausea. And I did have one day of nausea. And I'm going to tell you, it was rough. It only lasted about a couple of hours, but it was a rough couple of hours, and I was not prepared with whatever it is people say that you should have on hand in case you are nauseated. But I did think about what did I do? What did I do wrong? And what I did was I had something fried. I had some fried food close to the injection day, whether it be before the injection day or after. Close to, the day after you take it or the day before the injection. I don't recommend fried foods. Just don't do it. Don't take those chances because it can lead to that nausea. And let me tell you, I was in the bed. But it also, I would say this, I keep a bag, if this is too much information, but I keep a little bag in the bathroom from now on, just in case I am sick and I don't have to run and go looking for anything else. That's my kit right there. Okay. Little tip for those who are just getting started, or maybe those who've been around for a while and never thought about that. There's a tip for you. All right. Also on 7.5, let's talk about the appetite suppression. It was what I would say, it was okay. It was minimal. It wasn't as strong as it was on 5.0. I will say that. I did not, and it was okay for 2 or 3 days. And they say it starts to, on all of them, it starts to level off. But I felt it was more leveling off for me personally, in that I felt more like a snacker. I do keep some snacks around that I would consider high protein, low carb. So I didn't do a whole bunch of damage, but I don't like the idea that I felt like snacking every day. Now, there are days when you may feel like, I just want a snack. I think that's human. I think that it's like that in regular life. I wouldn't take that as this is not working for me. But when it becomes an issue all the time, when you got to keep the boiled eggs to eat at night before you go to bed, when you have to take this protein shake or something before you can go to sleep because you feel your stomach beginning to growl, it's not even the food noise. It's not even the food noise because, and let me say this, I've said in a previous video, I didn't have food noise before taking this GLP-1 medication. So for those of you who are like me, who were wondering, well, what is food noise? Because you've never experienced it. Let me tell you, because I don't know if you've seen any videos where people really explain what the food noise is, because all the videos I watched, I think people just assumed that everybody knows what food noise is. And I did not until it happened. All right. So the food noise is when you're sitting around thinking, oh, I need to go get me a piece of this. I need to go get me some chocolate. Oh, I need to. And it's constant. I need to go get this. And you're not going to be satisfied until you get this thing. That is the food noise. I didn't have that on 7.5. It wasn't specific. It was just that I felt like, yeah, I need to be snacking. I need a little something extra. And I could take that as I'm not eating enough protein. And on some occasions it was. But I'm very super duper good about getting a lot of protein. All right. So it could be either of those things, but I'm pretty sure it just wasn't giving me what I needed. So when I talked to the doctor also, she had said when we decided it was time for me to titrate up to 7.5, it was because 5.0, though I love 5.0. Let me say that again. I love 5.0, but it was starting to be less effective on the weight loss. Now, of course, everything is not about weight loss. So I don't want you to get caught up in just that, because I don't weigh myself at home. I only weigh myself when I go to the doctor. How I check my progress at home is with the way my clothes fit. All right. But there are other factors to consider. So don't get caught up on just the weight loss. It is a plus and we all love it. And there are things we can do to accelerate that and make it even better. That's for sure. It's definitely an issue for me because some of my health issues derive from the fat, from being fluffy. I needed to lose weight. So that is a factor, but I don't let that be the driving factor. The driving factor for me is getting healthy, eating better, and still so I can be more active and live a better life. I want to live a longer life. I have a lot of things that I'm doing, and I want to continue to do those things as long as possible. There are your A1C numbers. There are lots of health numbers to look at, and getting stuck on just the scale can derail you. And you got to look at the whole package. Look at everything. Now, some people lose weight tremendously fast. I'm not one of those people. It's taken me a while. But I also say now I feel like I have a grip on the protein and what I need to eat and how to add protein in at the end of the day, and building up to a large amount of protein, because my goal was 80 grams of protein per day. Now I have upped my game to I'm trying to eat at least 140 grams of protein per day, with 40 during my first meal being the ultimate goal. And at the end of the day, if I have not reached my 140, I will get my protein powder, because I have the shakes and the powder. It doesn't really matter. And I will double up on that. So if it's 25 grams of protein in a shake, I'm going to double it up and I'm going to have 50 grams. And that may take me to the 140 or to have me just a little bit shy of it. But if I can make it up throughout the week. So you have to look at this as a 7-day situation as opposed to just a 1-day situation. So if I don't get it all today, all the protein in, I'm not going to beat myself up. But I try to get as close to it and meet that goal every day as much as I possibly can. And, that's called just doing the best you can. That's what I do here. The best I can. Now, the other thing about 7.5, it didn't prevent, I didn't feel good. I didn't feel like, as it wears off during the week, I didn't feel myself picking up. So, the energy level, feeling more normal. I didn't like that too much. So I was happy to see 7.5 go bye-bye to 7.5. Now I'll give you an update on how 10.0 is going on another video. But as far as I can see during this first week, everything is good. But we'll get more into detail with that at a later date. I do want to encourage you, if 7.5 is working for you, stay with it as long as you can. Stay with it as long as you don't have the food noise. Stay with it as long as you're continuing to lose weight, at least 1 pound per week, as recommended. Stay with it as long as your numbers, your health digits that you and your doctor deem need to be worked on are working. If it's not working, yes, try to make some adjustments. Become more active. That's what I need to do. I got this equipment around here. I got some weights, and I have to start to incorporate that now because, the loose skin is starting to show up. And, I got to do something about it while I still can. So that is the next phase. And if you're one of those people, you can do all those things. You can go walking, you can work out, you can eat right, and you can keep a steady schedule. You are ahead of the game, and I am proud of you. If you are a person that needs to do things in stages like me, I'm proud of you, just one step at a time. That's all we can do. I think sometimes you can get overwhelmed when you try to do everything all at once. Sometimes that is just not applicable to you, the person. You got to do this thing you got to do it in a way that works for you. Stay in contact with your doctor. Ask questions. Reach out to people for support. There are lots of people on YouTube who make these videos, who are on this journey. You don't have to do it alone. There doesn't have to be a surprise, for you save everything. Some people like to save everything. Then I'm going to come out and I'm going to surprise everybody. You need support. If you don't want to talk to other people, watch these videos, different influencers, different people who are posting. Leave comments. Read the comments. If you don't want to write anything, read what other people are saying. Find victories, small victories, celebrate those. Now, you don't have, when I say celebrate the small victories, I don't mean go out to a buffet and eat everything that will derail you. Not at all. If you hit a stall, you need to talk to people who make videos about the stall and what they did to get out of it. How long does a stall last? Talk to your doctor, get a trainer, do all the things. And then you are able to make educated decisions. Now, that's all I have to say about 7.5. And I hope I've said something in this video that can help someone else. I hope that you were entertained, you felt informed, and that you'll come back. But before you leave, I'm going to say it again. hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below. And until my next video, seek joy. If you seek joy, you will find joy. And I'll see you in the next one.